1. Introduction. My name is Donna. I am 36 years old. I live in a small town near the coast. I work in a flower shop. My life looks simple from the outside, but I carry a heavy secret. I have a daughter named Emily. She is 16 years old. She believes I am her birth mother. She thinks I gave birth to her. This is not the truth. Emily is adopted. I went to an orphanage when she was a baby. I took her home with me. I loved her the moment I saw her small face. I felt a strong love. I promised myself I would protect her. I would keep her safe forever. I keep this secret because I love Emily. I do not want to hurt her. She is my world. We live a very normal life here. Our house is small and comfortable. The town is quiet. Everyone knows everyone else. This makes keeping the secret very difficult. I must be careful about what I say. I must be careful about who I talk to. I do not want anyone to guess the truth. Every day I feel fear. The fear is always near me. When I see Emily, I feel happy, but also guilty. I feel guilty because I lie to her. Now, Emily is older. She is 16. She is almost an adult. She starts to ask questions about her childhood. She asks about our family history. I have to make up stories. I have to remember the lies I tell. The burden of the secret grows heavier every year. I worry that the past will find us. I worry that the adoption papers will be found. The thought of losing Emily makes my heart stop. I know that if the truth comes out, everything will change. It could break our family. It could destroy the trust between us. I built my life on this love and this lie. My greatest fear is that this small, hidden truth will ruin everything I cherish. I hope that I can keep my simple life and my daughter safe from the pain of the past. I want our happy life to continue forever. 2. A new man. It was a rainy day in the small town. I was standing behind the counter in my flower shop. The air smelled like wet earth and fresh lilies. The bell above the door rang, announcing a visitor. A man came inside. His name was Richard. He was very tall and handsome. He looked sad, like he was carrying a heavy weight on his shoulders. He wore a dark blue jacket that day. He walked slowly until he stood by the table of white roses. Richard bought some of the white roses. When he paid me the money, I saw his hands. They were shaking just a little bit. He told me that he had lost someone important to him recently. He did not say who it was, but I felt a wave of sadness for him. I looked into his eyes. They were a warm brown color, and they seemed to hold a lot of pain. I felt a strong connection to him right away. My heart started to beat very fast in my chest. I tried hard to stay calm, but it was difficult. I thought to myself, this man is very different from anyone I have ever met. I did not truly think he would come back to the shop, but he did. The very next week, Richard returned to the flower shop. He bought more flowers, this time red ones. He smiled at me when he left. It was a small smile, but it made my whole day feel brighter. After that second visit, Richard started coming to the shop every week. Sometimes he bought flowers, and sometimes he just came to talk about the weather or the town news. He quickly became a regular visitor. Soon, seeing Richard was the best part of my normal, quiet days. I felt a new kind of happiness growing inside me. When he was near, I felt alive and young again. I began to develop strong feelings for him. I liked his kind voice and his quiet, thoughtful manner. But this new happiness brought a serious problem. I had a big secret about Emily, my 16-year-old daughter. I had not told Richard that I adopted her many years ago. I kept silent about her past. I felt guilty every time he left the shop. We were starting to get closer, talking more and more. But I was hiding the most important truth about my life and my family. This secret felt like a heavy stone in my stomach. I worried greatly about telling him the truth. If he knew the whole story, would he still want to be with me? Would he understand why I kept it hidden for so long? I did not want to lose this wonderful new man. The fear of losing Richard made me keep my secret safe, locked away. I knew I needed to tell him soon before our relationship grew too serious, but the necessary words simply would not come out of my mouth. 3. We get closer. Richard asked me to meet him. It was not at the flower shop. It was for coffee. I said yes quickly. We sat at a small table. We talked for many hours. The time went by so fast. I learned more about Richard. He told me about his family. He told me about sad times in his life. I felt safe with him. I told him many things about myself. I told him about my job. I told him I loved living by the coast. But I did not tell him the big secret. I did not tell him that Emily was adopted. I could not say the words. I was too afraid. Richard looked at me with kind eyes. He said, "You have a gentle heart, Donna." Hearing this made me happy, but it also made me feel guilty. After coffee, we started dating often. We went to dinner. We walked by the water. Our connection grew stronger every week. I started to think about a future with Richard. This thought made me smile, but the fear was always there, like a cold stone in my stomach. If he knew the truth about Emily, would he stay? I did not know the answer. I kept the secret safe inside me. Soon, Richard started to visit my home. This was a big step for us. Emily met him for the first time. I watched them closely. I wanted them to like each other. Luckily, they did. Emily laughed at his jokes. Richard was very kind to her. He listened when she talked about school. He helped her with a difficult math problem one evening. Watching them together filled me with joy. Richard was good for Emily. He brought light into our small house. It felt like we were becoming a real, complete family. This new happiness was wonderful, but it was also very fragile. Every time I saw Richard and Emily together, my fear grew. I knew I had to tell him the truth one day, but I waited. I wanted to keep this perfect, new world safe for just a little longer. I knew the secret could destroy everything. It could shatter my life, Emily's life, and my new relationship with Richard. I did not want to risk losing this love, so I stayed silent. A big problem. Donna felt worried about the orphanage. She thought about them often. One evening, she went into the kitchen. It was late, and she thought her daughter, Emily, was sleeping. Suddenly, the phone rang. It was the manager from the orphanage. Donna quickly answered the phone and spoke very softly. She whispered into the receiver. She told the manager, "Please, do not call me here again." Donna felt fear in her chest. She needed the manager to understand the serious danger of calling her house. Donna did not see Emily. Emily stood very still near the living room door. She heard Donna speaking strange words. Emily heard the word again. She heard the fear in her mother's voice. Emily did not understand exactly what she heard, but she knew it was a secret. A very big secret. Emily went back to her room quietly. She did not sleep well that night. Her mind was full of questions about her mother's whispered words. The next morning, everything felt heavy. Donna tried to make breakfast, but her hands were shaking. Emily came into the kitchen. She did not smile. She did not say good morning. She looked at Donna with cold eyes. Emily's eyes were usually warm and full of life. Now they were hard and distant. Donna felt sick with worry. She tried to touch Emily's arm gently. "Are you okay, sweetie?" Donna asked. Emily quickly moved her arm away. She did not want her mother to touch her. Richard came over later that day. He brought flowers for Donna. He noticed the quiet house and the strange atmosphere. Emily sat reading, but she did not look up when Richard spoke her name. Richard asked Donna, "What is wrong? Is Emily sick?" Donna shook her head quickly. She forced a bright smile. "No, everything is fine, just school stress," she lied. It was easy to lie about small things, but this big lie felt heavy in her mouth. Richard looked confused. He knew something was wrong between the two women he loved. The coldness continued for several days. Emily spoke only short sentences. She avoided looking at Donna. She spent more time alone in her room. Donna felt terrible guilt. She wanted to tell Richard the truth, but she could not. If she told him, she might lose him. The secret had been safe for 16 years. Now it was like thin glass. It was shaking and starting to crack. Donna knew the truth was coming very fast. She could not stop it now, and her world felt ready to break. 5. The truth is out. Emily was still angry. She needed answers. She looked through my old things. She searched in my bedroom closet. She searched through the boxes of papers. She wanted to know the truth. After a long time, she found a folder. The folder was thick and dusty. She opened it. Inside, she saw official documents. The papers were about her. She saw the word adoption. She saw my name and the name of the orphanage. Emily read every paper quickly. Her hands began to shake very badly. She realized the terrible thing. I was not her birth mother. I had hidden this secret for 16 years. The pain in her heart was too big. She sat on the floor and started to cry loudly. I came home late that afternoon. The house was quiet. I walked into the living room. Emily was there. She was sitting on the floor. She held the documents in her hands. Her face was red from crying. She looked up at me. Her eyes were full of hurt and anger. I knew instantly that my biggest fear was now real. I tried to speak, but no words came out. Emily stood up quickly. She held the papers up high. She screamed at me. "Why did you lie to me?" she shouted. "Who am I? You kept this from me?" Her voice was loud and broken. My heart felt like it was breaking into many small pieces. I stepped closer to her. I wanted to hold her. I wanted to explain my love. I reached out my hand. She pushed my hand away strongly. "Don't touch me," she yelled. She turned and ran to the front door. She opened the door and ran out into the dark night. I called her name. "Emily, wait, please." I ran after her. I ran fast outside. I saw her small shape running down the street. I kept calling her name over and over again. She did not stop. She did not look back. My legs became tired. I could not catch her. I watched her disappear around the corner. My world collapsed completely. The darkness of the night felt heavy. I stopped running. I fell onto the cold ground. I put my head in my hands. I cried hard. My deepest fear had happened. I had lost my daughter because of my lie. I was alone. 6. I lose everything. The night was cold. I sat outside our house. I was crying and shaking. I felt empty inside. Suddenly, Richard came to me. He looked very worried. He sat down next to me on the steps. He asked, "Donna, what happened? Where is Emily?" I could not hide the truth anymore. I took a deep breath. I told him everything. I started with the day I went to the orphanage. I told him about the small baby girl. Her name was Emily. She smiled at me right away. I felt a strong, sudden love at that moment. I knew she was meant to be my daughter. I told him I signed the papers quickly. I wanted to take her home and protect her. I told Richard that I loved her too much to ever tell the truth. I was afraid to lose her. I was afraid that if she knew, she would hate me and leave me forever. I looked at Richard. Tears ran down my face constantly. I said, "I kept the secret for 16 years because of fear. It was a mistake, a very big mistake." Richard listened to all my words. He did not speak for a long time. His face showed deep shock and pain. He looked very sad, almost broken. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet and serious. He said, "Donna, I care about you. I truly do love you." He paused for a moment. My heart waited for his next words. He shook his head slowly. He said, "But love cannot grow on lies. Honesty is the most important thing for us. His words cut me deeply. They were sharp and painful. I tried to reach for his hand. He pulled away gently. He stood up slowly. He looked back at the dark house where Emily was not. He looked at me one last time. He said, "I need to go now. I need time to think about this." I begged him not to leave. I said, "Please, Richard, do not go. I love you so much." But he did not stop. He turned and walked away into the darkness of the night. I watched him disappear down the street quickly. In that moment, everything broke completely. I had lost my daughter, Emily. She was gone because of the secret. Now I lost the man I loved, Richard. He left because of the lie. In just one night, I lost the two most important people in my life. I was alone again. I sat there until the sun began to rise. The cold air reminded me that I had nothing left. My world was completely empty. 7, our sad home. Emily was gone. 2 days passed, but she did not come home. I felt deep despair. I searched the town for her. I called every friend she had. I went to her school, but she was not there. I could not eat food. I could not sleep at night. My head hurt all the time. I felt like I was falling down a deep hole. My home was quiet, too quiet. Every small sound made me jump. I waited by the window, watching the street. I hoped to see my daughter walk back to me. Finally, on the 3rd night, she came back. I saw her standing at the door. She looked very tired. Her eyes were red and full of hurt. I wanted to run to her, but I stayed still. She looked like a stranger, not my little girl. She walked inside slowly. She said she stayed at a friend's house. We went to the living room. We sat far away from each other. The air felt heavy and cold. She did not yell this time. She only asked me one thing, speaking softly. "Why did you not tell me the truth?" I looked at her face. I saw my own pain reflected in her eyes. I took a deep breath. I told her the reason again. I said, "I was very scared, Emily." I told her I was afraid of losing her. I told her that I loved her too much to risk it. I said the love was always real, even if the beginning was a secret. I expected her to be angry again. I thought she would scream and leave. But she did not. She just looked down at her hands. A single tear fell onto the floor, then another one. She started to cry silently. Seeing her cry broke my heart all over again. I moved closer to her seat. I did not try to touch her. I just sat and cried with her. My sadness mixed with her sadness. The words were gone. Only tears remained. Our house felt like a broken place. It was our home, but now it was sad. We shared a terrible pain that night. The secret was out, and it had hurt us both deeply. We were together again, but we were both broken. We needed time to start healing from the big lie. I knew that this moment, this shared sadness, was the first step toward finding peace. We sat there for a long time, just crying and breathing in the heavy silence. I hoped that one day love would be stronger than the sadness in our sad home. 8. We start again. Emily moved toward me very slowly. She was quiet. She stopped right in front of me. Then she put her arms around my neck. I held her close. I held her so tight, just like the first time I held her when she was a small baby. It was a long hug. It felt like we were putting the broken pieces back together. She pulled back and looked into my eyes. She said the words I needed to hear. She told me, "You raised me. You took care of me for 16 years. You are my real mother." Hearing those words made my chest feel light. The heavy weight I carried for years finally lifted. I thanked her again and again. I told her I loved her more than anything. We both cried, but these tears were different. They were tears of relief, not pain. We knew the truth now, and we were ready to be honest. We talked about how we would move forward. We decided that love was the most important thing for our family. A few hours later, there was a knock on the door. It was Richard. My heart jumped. I opened the door. He looked serious, but his eyes were kind. He walked inside and sat down. He said he needed time to be alone. He had to think about the lies and the secrets. He said it was a big shock for him. He looked at me for a long time. Richard explained that he tried to leave, but he could not. He said he loved me. He did not want to lose me because of a mistake I made long ago. He took my hand. He held it tightly. This felt like the beginning of something new and real. He was back. Emily walked into the living room. She saw Richard and me sitting together. She smiled a small, real smile. Richard smiled back at her. We all sat together on the old sofa. We were quiet for a moment. It was a strange moment, but a good one. We were not the perfect family we pretended to be before. Now we were a real family built on truth and forgiveness. My big secret did not destroy us. It hurt us badly, but it did not break us completely. It made us stronger. We learned that hiding things causes pain. We learned that love can fix things. Richard was back. Emily was home. We were ready to start again. We were 3 people starting a new chapter together. I knew our life would be better now because it was honest. I felt hopeful for the first time in many days. Love, the true kind, stayed with us.